What's going on, guys? And as promised, I guess I have here the I guess it's quarterfinals. Yeah, quarterfinals from the fifth season of Total War League. We got Bobi versus Asseror. Best of three. Some very interesting games, I think. So worth taking a look at. Didn't actually see them too closely, so might not have the full picture here, but they were definitely both very interesting games. So let's get right into it. First game, they are both mirror matchups, the Asera special. But yeah, first one they agreed to go Colchis mirror. Not exactly the most interesting mirror matchup necessarily, but could be interesting. The interesting part will be the army selections. So let's see how that goes. I believe they agreed to a max 4 horse archers. Um, so that's just to make it balanced, since the horse archer spam could be annoying, though only with these cheap horse archers, maybe not so bad. But let's look at Asteri's army in the yellow here. He's gone for an interesting army. Not really a huge fan of it, to be honest, but we'll see. 3 Noble Blood Cav here, Pace Lancer Gun. Yeah, I don't know. I guess that's fine. Basically, between the Pace Lancer and the Noble Blood Cav Gen, I could see either being pretty good. Maybe you want to bring one Shock Cav, could be pretty useful, so whatever, we'll take it. Up front, 2 Colchian Nobles. Not liking the fact they're up front, though, because they should not be taking Javelin Volleys. They're too expensive to be eating those volleys, and they're just, much more effective when they haven't taken that early HP damage from the precursors. But anyway, 2 Colchian Nobles, 4 Slingers, 4 Horse Archers, as mentioned before. We got Hillmen on the flanks. Yeah, 2 Hillmen, 1, 2, oh, 2 Axemen, and 2 Cartly Axemen. So 6 mainline infantry, but I think that Colchian Nobles are unnecessary in this matchup. I think just Cartly Axeman spam is just better. For example, if he took, 2 Cartly Axemen instead of these 2 Colchian Nobles, he could also upgrade these 2 Axemen into Cartly Axemen. I think that'd just be better overall. I'm not really sure why you need the Colchian Nobles necessarily. Also because the enemy faction's also Colchis, so they're going to have Axemen as well, and you think the Axemen actually will do, or the Cartly Axemen will do quite well against Colchian Nobles. They have high armor, they're a spear unit, so the Axemen are kind of perfect against that. So not really sure if that was the best decision, but we'll see how it goes. Bobi has a much simpler army, and I'm probably a bigger fan of this army, so let's look at it here. 4 horse archers as well. Again, they agreed on max there. 4 noble blood cab, so cavalry department slightly in Asera's favor, but the noble blood cab are very good. Just so you have, Asera has additional utility with that Hippaeus Lancer. He has a little bit more variety in things that his cavalry can accomplish, whereas these noble blood cav will just be very good in melee and frontal charges just to stop the enemy units from getting charges, but really won't be having that shock cav power for Bobi, obviously. He's got 5 slingers, which is very nice. So outslinging Aster, 5 versus 4. Both, a slinger war, not really great for the 5 slingers versus 4 slingers. You will win, but the 50% block chance on those E2 slingers will make that a pretty costly Slinger War ammo-wise, and probably not worth it. But he can just shoot Cav and then wait and shoot infantry in the late game if his Cav can get to the enemy slingers, but that might be a problem. So, yeah. And then up front, his main line, Axemen, Cartly Axemen, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Cartly Axemen, 6 Cartly Axemen, and 1 regular Axemen. So 7 infantry for Bobi, 7 mainline infantry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 infantry for Asera, but the 2 Hillmen to none. Maybe makes up for that. Probably does, I'd say. The Colchian Nobles, probably better than Cartly Axemen, but Asera has 2 Axemen and 2 Hillmen to 1 Axemen and 1 spare or free Cartly Axemen unaccounted for on this main line. So infantry going to be probably in Bobi's favor. He has the extra slinger, and his cavalry is slightly worse, I think. But Asera does have the infantry numbers advantage, and that could be crucial to getting behind the lines, pressuring slingers, and then getting a cavalry fight where he has Hillman support. I think that should be basically Asera's goal, is to just match up one-on-one. He's going to lose where this Hillman is, so maybe delay that engagement. Other than that, just like come in, engage up the line. His Axemen can face off against this Axeman. Colchian Nobles, Carly Axemen come in, whatever, and then have this Hillman run around the flank with like a majority of your cavalry, like 2 or 3 units, force a cav fight where you have Hillman in support, get the win there, and then you start rolling across those slingers before it's too late. Anyway, here we come, Bobi running up forward here, gonna get some shots on this Cartly Axeman. This is good for Asseror, but now Bobi's 5 slingers are in range. Starting doing some damage there. The horse archers have been skirmishing. Doesn't look like either side is really taking any losses, so that's good. Yeah, horse archer battle completely even, so there's not much to say about that. Looks like he's targeting the cavalry for Bobi here. This is good. Hippos Lancer's out in front. Here comes the Noble Bloodcav Gen. Yeah, Bobi sees this, but this just means he's taking unnecessary fire. Over here, yeah, this Noble Bloodcav Gen comes forward, but just gets shot here. Well, doesn't really get shot very quickly. You can see this Eastern Slinger going down pretty fast to the focus fire. Asseror wants to get in here ASAP before his slingers just get owned. You see his Hillman is out on the flank. This is good. Bobi looks like he might want to charge it. But yeah, Asseror waiting here is kind of just bad because the slingers will just lose, especially if they can get focused. Looks like maybe 3-1 on this Eastern Slinger. It's just going to go down and a lot of ammo will not be wasted. Over here, this Eastern Slinger also low. So Bobi's slingers are untouched, but the cavalry has been shot up a little bit. Doesn't look like they took any losses, but that's okay. But now Asseror is coming forward, and he actually gets a really good timing here. Does he get Javelin? Not really. So this is really good. And look at these free charges here. Bobi was not prepared for this. He's losing slingers as Asseror, but this charge especially devastating with that Hippos Lancer right into that Cartly Axeman. Killing 20 men on the charge, or 30 men on the charge. And that's going to let these Cartly Axemen own here. They're going to dominate this fight. They're going to dominate this fight. And all of a sudden the battle has just swung in Asseror's favor heavily. Yeah, Colchian Noble's coming in here and getting a counter charge, not getting Javelin by the Cartly Axemen. These Noble Blood kept at a 41, so very even Noble Blood cap changes here. 59, and Hippos Lancer 59, that's fine. 60 and 52. So Asseror is losing more cav for this, but he's going to absolutely smash this infantry fight. And it looks like he might get additional charges here. And where's the blob? Here's the blob, because I realized here there's 1-to-1 along this line, and there's a spare unit here. So that means that Bobi must have blobbed somewhere, because again, this Hillman is doing exactly what I said it should do. Come around the flank and just, you know, cavalry should be in support here. The horse archers are in support. Look at these axemen, 89, 101, full for Asseror, pretty much. Here, 120, there was 74. Oh, that frontal charge is just absolutely devastating. Again, Asseror's cav will take a heavier price, and this still means that Bobi's in the game, because Bobi has these slingers and he can survive, he can kill the enemy cav, then it won't really matter, as long as his infantry is somewhat depleted. But the problem is now that these numbers are coming into play. If this cav gets around the flank, these horse archers start shooting this cav, slingers are already shooting it, then the cavalry starts to fall. This cavalry is still in the fight at 55, not good, should be out. And if he can catch some of these slingers, then the problem is Bobi will not have a slinger advantage anymore. I mean, he has done massive damage to these slingers, to be fair. Killing or routing 2, so 2 are very low. So he'll still have a slinger advantage, but if 1 or 2 of these slingers get caught by this push, it'll be all over pretty much because the infantry is so heavily in his favor. Again, nice charge here again from Asseror, keeping this going. Down here, you probably just shouldn't engage because it's a Hillman. There's like no point in engaging here. You'll just lose this fight drastically. If Bobi's not using this unit, you might as well just sit your Hillman back here and prevent any flanking action. Engage at the last possible moment. So here comes the cav, but yeah, Asseror gets a nice volley here. 8 kills from the Hillman by javelining that cav. Now this cav is very low, and this cavalry much healthier. The Hippos Lancer General sees a flanking cart unit and just gets owned with the rear charge. These Colchian Nobles were losing heavily because of that rear charge, but now this whole fight is just winning. Here, yeah, Cartly Axeman owning the Hillman very quickly. Axeman against Cartly Axeman should be good for the Cartly, but they got charged. The Axeman really did well. Not great. Here's that blob again. These Colchian Nobles can now engage in the blob, but instead, he's just going to go through. It's fine. I mean, he does want to get up those slingers, and you can see he's starting to win these fights. So I understand he wants to get to those slingers. And here, another Noble Blood cav going to go down, so this is really good. Look at this cav. Very healthy. 58, 46, 41, and over here, these guys are just trading off cav, although Asseror's cav is going to win. Nice 52-man charge in here, so this cav might die now, but slingers are focusing this fight, so everything's going to die here pretty much. Cav, or infantry, sorry, getting in the back here, throwing javelins. Nicely done. The general for Bobi is healthy though, so again, cavalry advantage still in Bobi's favor, so this is not terrible. As long as these fights go on for a bit longer and Bobi's slingers just focus down these cav, it'll be alright. Hippos Lancer Gen, yeah, a bit weak, but he still has a full Noble Blood cav here. All the cav in this fight is just gonna die, it looks like. Although, the good thing is that, well no, there is still an Axeman in here actually, I didn't see that flag was hidden, but yeah, so this fight's still going in Asseror's favor. This Axeman is going to come in here and block the Cartley, but they're going to absolutely destroy this. However, Asseror's Horse Archers are much more active, and they're going to get rear shots into this fight, so this is good. Even when he's in a losing fight, he's going to do a lot more damage than Bobi is doing to Asseror's infantry, because Asseror's infantry is just getting in there and winning. You see here, Cartley going down. This fight, one Cartley is going to die, the other one should probably win, but these horse archers getting nice shots, and now it's just down to the cavalry and slingers. And like this cav, for example, there's no reason for it to be here. He wants to get a charge into this cav, but like, what is that really gonna do? Like, this cav is gonna die. This cav is gonna be very healthy still. It doesn't really matter. At least it's already fighting. Just shoot it. Just shoot it with your slingers and run away. You want to keep your cav healthy. And what's the horse archer situation here? 60. So no horse archers lost. So this is totally fine for Bobi right now, as long as he doesn't throw away too much cav, and he has to use his slingers very well. The problem is if this cav goes down for Bobi, and it is, now he's going to be outnumbered in the cav department, and that's kind of random. Like, I thought this cav was much healthier, but he kept it in range, and now he only has this noble blood cav general. There are 2 noble blood cav, well, one's very small, and the Hippeus Lancer Gen alive. Infantry in Asseror's favor, as we know, and horse archers very even, but look at the shots Asseror's horse archers are getting into the back, just doing absolute damage to these axemen, well, Cartley axemen, and just evening out this fight. It was 2 versus 1, but these shots just win the fight for Asseror, because 2 of these units are going to die. These axemen, not a very valuable unit for Asseror, and they're just trading off. So now the slingers are alive, but there's too much infantry, and there's a 2-to-1 cavalry ratio here. Nice shots on the cav here, though. Asseror needs to prevent that. Basically, what Asseror needs to do now is just start, well, you can do one of 2 things. Sit here with his infantry and just start shooting the slingers with his slingers, because if he allows these infantry to get exhausted chasing, then they're going to be very easy targets. Or what you can do is just start pushing forward with his cav and his horse archers, literally just like run into melee everywhere, and then he doesn't have enough cav. He literally doesn't have enough cav to stop you from killing the missiles. And these fights, you know, horse archer on horse archer or whatever, it's going to be pretty even. And there are 4 slingers alive for Asseror. So he's chasing here. The noble blood cav goes in for a charge, but it's just going to take fire doing that. And you can't really afford this because this cav is very healthy, much more healthy than the noble blood cav. So here comes the attack though from Asseror. This is fine, like just pushing these guys back. One horse archer gets completely owned though, so now that's actually a little bit better. Still though, the slingers are coming into play. Honestly, right now he could even just stop chasing and run up his slingers and start shooting the enemy slingers here, and that would be totally fine as well. Because right now his slingers are so far back they can't get any shots, so these guys are just running forward with no objective really. The horse archers, Bobi pulls 3 horse archers over to this flank and 1 behind, which is fine. Asseror is very blobbed up, so these shots are going to be really good, and he's hitting this noble blood cav. And you can kill this noble blood cav even down to like, you know, 20 men or something. It's going to be very hard for Asseror to win because his the noble blood cav here will do well against Hippeus Lancer, and any fire from these 5 slingers can immediately pretty much kill one of these cavs. So here's a problem though. This horse archer getting chased, looks like he'll get out though. Fresh against winded should be fine. Fresh noble blood cav as well in the charge animation, but they're kind of far back. So Bobi holding on here, and again these units are just going to get exhausted soon, and the horse archer is picking them off. So this is all very good, although somehow the horse archers here are actually catching them. This doesn't make any sense because they're fresh. It must be just the charge animation. Bobi mismicros them, and this noble blood cav will easily kill off all of these horse archers. He's trying to get away. It looks like 56 men still, but this noble blood cav gets in here, and now this is a massive problem because there's going to be no cavalry to stop these guys coming in if Asseror coordinates this rush. And the slingers still probably have tons of ammo, so this is definitely not over. I really think that he just needs to shoot the cav when they get in range. He should be spreading out his slingers. They shouldn't be like all thick like this because it'll just be easier for them to get focused down by these horse archers. Horse archers should be staying nearby the slingers so these cav can never come forward. He's kind of doing that, but this is still, even the problem is going to be these units because they can just run into these slingers and there's literally no units nearby. But Asseror is just losing so many noble blood cav for this. He's going to get into this horse archer, though this was a mistake from Asseror. Unless, even if it had no ammo, it still wasn't worth it. And now Asseror is falling back because it looks like Bobi's trying to go for the slingers, but there's no way he's ever going to get to the slingers here. These slingers just own the horse archer unit. Both will maybe rout, but it doesn't matter because this noble blood cav is still alive. 17 men, so he's doing good damage to the cav, but the problem is there are now 2 horse archers here. He also has these small cavalry units, and the general is just healthy. Only 3 units for Bobi to defend these slingers with. So also the red line is approaching. He has to get out of the red line situation here, and there's still infantry units alive. They're still exhausted. This is definitely not over. I think Bobi can still clutch this out if he's like very meticulous about how he deals with these horse archer threats. Asseror shooting with the slingers with the horse archers is probably useless. Like, they should just get focused down. If they get focused down here, it's over. Like, but then Bobi goes for this charge. It's just stupid. Like, he takes so much friendly fire. He took a javelin volley. You need this cav to be healthy. Why are you killing infantry that are exhausted with your general? Like, they will just rout to your slingers at any point. So this was a big mistake. Bobi's general dies, and that's the game. So yeah, don't like that finish at all, really. Like, I think it was much closer than Bobi thought it was. That suicide charge with the general was just completely losing, because Asseror's cav was not healthy enough, besides the general, to get into the slingers successfully. With horse archers with ammo around, they could just shoot them, the slingers just shoot them, and they would die. So really it was going to come down to the Hapace Lancer getting into the slingers, but at that point Bobi could just sacrifice his general, which was, you know, similarly strength, to just get in there and tie down the general, shoot it with the slingers. Both generals probably die because Sarah can shoot Bobi's general with his slingers, and then you just have 5 slingers and an equal number of horse archers. You just trade off the horse archers and the slingers just win. But sacrificing his general like that, or throwing his general into the infantry, was completely useless. Those infantry were exhausted. They will just rout. You just don't want your general anywhere near the enemy slingers, unless you can kill off the enemy cav with that charge. So yeah, close game though. I think I liked Bobi's build better, but there was just the crucial mistake was letting his infantry get so badly charged frontally, and then not playing the end game, I think, correctly. Like at a certain point in the battle, he had a cavalry superiority, and he should have just went with that. He did not need to lose more cav. Basically, his cav just ran into range of Asseror's slingers, and Asseror was very quick to focus down the enemy slingers. So 1-0 for Asseror. It's a best of 3. And we have the second game, and they agreed for Egypt mirror match this time, so this should be interesting. Egypt, I think, a much more interesting mirror match because you have so many options. You have elite missiles, you have Tarentines, you have shock cav, elite infantry, cheap infantry, pikes, whatever you want, really. So this should be a very varied army, very varied armies, hopefully. So let's see what we have here. So 4 Tarentines for Asseror out front. This makes a lot of sense. Could even go with 3, but 4 is definitely fine. They can hunt down slingers. It's good mass, very useful unit in general. Only has 2 other cav though, Ptolemaic Chen and a Egyptian cavalry there. So decent cav force. Of course, these Tarentines are useful against enemy cav with jabs and everything, but only 2 melee cav. Ptolemaic cav though will be very good. Shooting enemy units, all that. Then let's look at the slinger force. I think it's just 5 Egyptian slingers. Yeah, 5 Egyptian slingers. No worries there, just 5 cheap slingers. Hard to beat them in a slinger war, and they'll just be useful in shooting enemy units in the late game or whatever, and just wasting ammo of any enemy elite slingers on Bobi's side there. Infantry-wise, we have a Galatian Royal Guard there, Thorax Sword, Galatian Royal Guard. So yeah, 2 Galatian Royal Guards and a Thorax Sword, very strong infantry, alongside 1 Galatian Swordsman, 2 Galatian Swordsmen, 3 Galatian Swordsmen. Hate that unit. For the price is absolutely terrible, but it's kind of the best that Egypt can do. And against enemy Egypt, it's not necessarily a bad choice. He also has 1, 2, 3 Egyptian pikemen. Not bad, just to support any fights. They're very cheap, so that's nice. I think they're the cheapest pike unit in the game. They cost like 420 or something, 400. So that's nice, and yeah, that's his whole army, so that should be pretty solid. I like the 2 Galatian Royal Guard for an infantry factor. He's got his Ptolemaic cav, and then he just has good supporting cheap units with the slingers, the swords, and the pikes. So he's going to be relying on that Galatian Royal Guard combo to do a lot of damage, and his tall mate Cav to win in the late game. Now for Bobi, we have 5 Tarantines. One is hidden in the forest here, but there are 5 Tarantines, so that is the only Cav Bobi has, but it will be very annoying. It can go after slingers again, and he'll have the missile Cav advantage, so he can push Asseror back, although he's not really using it at the moment. Like, he could have 3 on this flank, so he can get right-sided shots on infantry units or Cav or whatever, but he's just holding one in reserve. Here it is, for maybe in case any cavalry flank around or something. Up front here, 4 Galatian swords, 5 Galatian swords, 1 Egyptian slinger, kind of weird. Thorax, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 Thorax swords for the spam, and a Royal Thorax sword in the back here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, 7, and then a Royal Thorax sword with 5 Galatian swords, 1 slinger, and 5 Tarantines. So it's going to be a classic battle of, well, I mean, there's a lot of Thorax swords here, but there are 2 Galatian Royal Guards against just the 1 Royal Thorax sword, which is a terrible unit compared to the Royal Guards. So can the elite infantry do enough? But also, he has 5 slingers against 1, so all he has to do really is just shoot the living shit out of all of these guys once the engagement starts. He has enough infantry to tie down most of these guys. There could be some threats of flanking units. Bobi, yeah, really needs to get everything engaged, deal with the Galatian Royal Guard somehow. I don't really know how he's going to do that, because he doesn't have melee cav to like charge and knock down these Galatian Royal Guard, stop them from getting in. So here comes Asseror with the Galatian Royal Guard. It's a bit exposed, so this might be a good time to 3 javelin it, shooting it in the back of these Tarantines, only engage with like one of these Thorax swords or surround it, something like that. So let's see what he does here. Looks like he's going to go for a charge on this Thorax sword, but you can see javelins coming in. 1 javelin volley, 2nd javelin volley from these Galatian swordsmen. Although they are going to get countercharged by the Thorax swords here, which is not good. Take a lot of damage, take 20 losses somehow to this Thorax sword and slinger fire. But in the end, it is still a good charge. He's going to get into this Galatian Royal Guard here, which isn't... Oh, at the last second he changes the charge order, but it doesn't really get a charge. Won't matter, though. Those Galatian swords are just dead to the Royal Guard. But this is how you want to do it. We want to snipe these Royal Guard early. You can see Tarantines getting nice shots into them as well, into the back, and that's very nice. About as good as it gets. Here the Galatian swords trying to get into the pikes. They kind of get in before the pikes are down, but Thorax swords will follow up and win this fight. Nice kiting from Asseror here. What he's forcing Bobi to do is, if he wants to attack this way, he's running into 2 pikes, and then there's all these slingers just shooting you in the back. So this is positionally very good. Another thing that Bobi's not doing is, since all of his infantry is over here, now instead of kiting this way, he has to run all the way around, and now this Galatian Royal Guard is not getting surrounded. In fact, it's Asseror here who is pressing the issue here and trying to get into the rear of Bobi's line. So now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sword units and the general are out of position here, not doing anything, while the Galatian Royal Guard and this Thorax sword munch up 3 easy unit kills here. Over here, this Galatian sword gets exposed, gets recharged by a cav unit, gets caught on the pikes, and it's pretty much dead. This Galatian Royal Guard will come in here and just clean it up, I guess. But yeah, so now Bobi's hemorrhaging units pretty quickly here. This is not a good start. He's also fighting frontally against these pikes, which are combined with the Thorax sword. Nice combo here. Again, Galatian Royal Guard having no problem dealing with the Thorax and a Galatian sword. This Galatian sword, though, will die, but what it's at least doing is preventing the Galatian Royal Guard from getting surrounded early on. Bobi tries to pull back here, but Galatian sword's routing. Thorax didn't lose many men at least. This Thorax sword can just continue to do the same thing with the pikes. This Galatian sword's getting a nice charge, at least on the Thorax sword, or the Galatian Royal Guard will do some damage, but these Galatian Royal Guard are getting too much activity here. These 2 Tarantines are getting absolutely destroyed here for Asseror. 4 versus 1, pretty much. This guy was barely firing, and Spring's going to go down. So that's a good cleanup for Bobi there, because if you can get up into these slingers, then the game becomes much more winnable. Here comes another Thorax sword freely into this Galatian Royal Guard. That initial damage, though, the 2 javelin volleys and the javelins from the Tarantines into the rear of these Galatian Royal Guard. Now look what Bobi's doing. Maybe intentional, maybe not, but he's now going to charge in. But yeah, he's getting a free charge from these Galatian Royal Guards, so now 1 Galatian Royal Guard should be pretty much dead. I mean, yeah, I don't expect it to survive. More Thorax swords are on the flank here to maybe push against this. But the Ptolemaic Cav is still healthy. Another Galatian Royal Guard, 97 men. So dealing pretty good damage to these Royal Guards, in all fairness. Like, this is pretty good for Bobi. What he needs to do now is probably, well, it's risky to engage your general, but you can also engage these Thorax Swords. One or two more Thorax Swords with a Javelin Volley, probably enough to finish this Galatian Royal Guard off, or at least, like, get it very low. And then he needs to start worrying about these Slingers. How, he's got, yeah, Egyptian Cav at 60, Ptolemaic 60, Tarentines two are very, two are very healthy and one's pretty healthy. Only 4 Tarentines left for Bobi, and he needs them to kill that Slinger. So now Galatian Royal Guard getting a charge into the general. Let's see how these Royal Thorax Swords perform against these elite infantry. They're at least going to do pretty good damage, and then he cycles out immediately and has this Thorax Sword cycling. I think that's about the best he can hope for. He doesn't want to keep his general engaged here, because he's just going to do poorly in this fight. Galatian Royal Guard with 185 kills already. This one, 140 kills. With the pike support, it actually might win this fight against the Thorax Swords, or at least do massive damage. And there's still not really a clear way to the Slingers. The Ptolemaic Gen is just sitting here on the flank with the Tarentines, and anywhere the Tarentines want to go into melee, there's just going to be one melee cav in support. And if Bobi doesn't have an answer for those Slingers, the infantry fight is too close. Those Slingers will be more than decisive. So here, Galatian Royal Guard, it's going to go down pretty fast to the combined power of this Thorax in general, so it's going down. But there's going to be units free in a second. Finally, one Tarentine gets through, but again, there's tons of support here. Egyptian Cav, Tarentine. The General's going to get a fantastic rear charge onto a Thorax Sword here. Going to kill it off probably, or at least do massive damage. But here Bobi is getting some counterplay. This is exactly what he needs. He needs to get into these Slingers. But this Tarentine gets caught, and again, it can't survive long here. The Ptolemaic Cav gets into this Tarentine, and it's pretty much GG if those units die. Because, again, the Slingers will just be winning. Yeah, so infantry finally going more or less into the favor of Bobi, as we expected. I mean, he just had way more infantry. And better quality overall, except for those 2 Galatian Royal Guard. But the Cav advantage was easily in Asseror's favor, the Slinger advantage was in Asseror's favor. And he did so much damage with those 2 Galatian Royal Guard that the infantry isn't sufficient here to kill off, or to survive the barrage from all of these Slingers. The General here, which is still very healthy, and whatever infantry is remaining. Like you can see, 114, 94, the General, 82, the 104. Decent amount of Slinger or infantry is surviving, but all Asseror needs to do is just survive with his Slingers and then just shoot these units, charge them. He still has a healthy Egyptian Cav, very healthy General, and that's going to be easily enough. And yeah, the last units are going down. He could try to just retreat to the forest and camp the forest, and that might do a pretty good job, or run into this forest, alternatively. But I still think the fact that he has the Shock Cav Gen, he has infantry, and he has 5 Slingers, you can just fully surround, get all rear shots, and those infantry would just be winning. But let's see how it goes. You can see Slingers 66, 49, so he did manage to kill some Slingers, and they have probably used a decent amount of ammo, so it's not totally over, but the problem is, the Cav advantage is now coming into play. He's sniping units that are isolated, and yeah, Bobi's forces are very isolated here. You can see this Thorax Sword's holding on the consecutive rear charges from this Egyptian cavalry, just routing these units. Slinger's going down here, Bobi, and now it's just a few healthy Thorax Swords, but they are alone. And like this unit is isolated again, probably will go down or just get shot to death. Ptolemaic Cav killing off another Thorax Sword. Slingers focusing it down. These Galatian Swords doing well against the Thorax Swords here. Pikes coming into the rear. But yeah, no way to kill the Slinger here is going to be a massive problem. And you can see like this Thorax Sword's healthier, but there's rear charges incoming. And that should do it. You can see all these units very tired as well, so morale is going to be an issue for Bobi, which is a problem for his isolated troops because they can just get routed quite easily due to rear charges and all that. And that's exactly what's happening here. Tarentine's pretty active, which is good because if they are healthy on stamina, I mean, they're going to do massive damage on those recharges against tired or exhausted units. And chasing is basically impossible in the desert here. You basically just want to camp at this point. I think that's the best hope in the forest, but it's not going to be enough. These guys just have to chase or die, and I think they're going to choose death. The general goes down. As soon as the general dies, it is over. Charges in here. One last charge. Very tired. Should use second wind at some point if he has it. I don't think I've seen any abilities used, but the other Thorax Sword's routing anyway, so it's not going to matter. And that should do it. So, Asseror clinching the series 2-0, getting revenge for last season where he lost, I think, also 2-0. So that's very nice. And pretty interesting battles. These mirror matchups are not the most interesting, but these battles were pretty interesting. They had pretty unique dynamics. I think Egypt is a good faction for mirror matchups because there's so many different ways you can go about it. I think Asseror's army is pretty solid though. Good balance between the infantry and the slingers, good amount of Tarentines, and then just 2 melee cav. That's enough, especially because Bobi didn't take any. And spamming Thorax Swords just wasn't going to be the answer against 2 Galatian Royal Guards and all these slingers, because Thorax Swords are just too trash. Galatian Swordsmen, look at these kills in the Galatian Swordsmen, absolutely nothing. They got kind of isolated and destroyed as the front line. You can see the Galatian Swords for Asseror did a little bit better. Getting into better engagements, I suppose. Pikes did okay. Galatian Royal Guard, I mean, this is the problem. Like, you have units that can just tank up so many kills. Basically can run through multiple units of Thorax Swords if given the opportunity to. 5 Slingers pretty much untouched. Good kills on those guys, considering they basically only had valuable targets to shoot at. Like, unless they were shooting this Egyptian Slinger, all these kills are against Galatian Swords, Thorax Swords, all of his infantry. So that's, 2 or 3 units of infantry worth of kills, and that's what you want from your Slingers. Also just weakening that HP for the Royal Guard. Thorax Swords do very well in their engagements. Ptolemaic have 133 kills. Excellent. Tarentines, whatever, did fine. Just defending against Bobi's superior Tarentine numbers, not letting them get to the Slingers. Normal stuff. You can see Bobi's Tarentines not doing too well. Thorax Swords mostly doing pretty badly. The General did okay, but, nothing too impressive, really. Yep, but overall, nice series. 2 good games. Good job to Asseror for winning. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed and see you in the next one. Peace.